What's up, everybody? It's XLN-RNA, and welcome back to another Momir's Madness, the format of random RNG chaos. Everybody has a deck entirely of basic lands. They discard a card and pay X mana to get a random creature at X mana, once per turn. So, let's just jump into it. I'm going to just skip my early drops. Probably not going to play a 1 or 2 mana creature here, just because they're usually pretty inconsequential. Once we hit later turns, they basically just become useless pretty fast once it gets to a board stall type situation. So yeah, we'll start at 3 mana and see what we get. So, we got the ultimate blocker, prevent all combat damage that would be dealt to Everdon champion, period. So, if my opponent's threats are mainly just stuff on the ground, this is going to be a long game, because I have a really good... Oh no! Oh no! Wow. Alright, well... This definitely does look like it's going to be a long game. We both have a very good ground blocker. I did just get a menace creature, so that could potentially get around that without being blocked, since they have to double block it. Alright, at 4 mana, our opponent gets a 2/4, so I am now again in a position where I can't attack, because they can double block and kill my 3/3 without even losing a creature. 5 mana, we get a 4/1 flyer that is a very good card. The only problem is that if they get literally anything with flying or reach, it's going to kill it, because it only needs 1 power to kill my 4/1 flyer, so... As long as they don't get a card with flying or reach, this card's going to be great, but if they do, it trades with anything. Now, this is not actually that unfortunate, because it is a 3/4 flyer, so at least I would be trading for something like decently sized, instead of trading for like just a little baby token or something. So I don't feel too bad about that, even though they did get the flyer to block it immediately. And I will go ahead and attack, because if they choose not to block... then I'm winning the race, because I'm doing 4 to them a turn, and then they're doing 3 to me a turn, so it's okay to not have a flying blocker there. An opponent does realize that they took the trade. Our 6-drop is a 6/6 Trample Colossal Dreadnought Classic. This card has been out for not that long, and it's already a major classic, just because it's been reprinted so many times, everybody remembers it. So yeah, opponent got one of the best 6-drops, Riddlemaster Sphinx. Quite the powerful card, 5/5 flyer, and in addition, in Momir, it can kill any creature. In regular formats, it just returns the creature to its owner's hand. And the reason that it kills the creature in Momir is because all of these are creature tokens, and creature tokens are just... they're not like actual magic cards, they're just representations of a creature with whatever stats they are. So creature tokens can't go to a graveyard or to somebody's hand or something, because they don't have all of the other characteristics of a regular magic card that you need rules-wise to be there. So if they go to basically any other zone, then they just die instead. So that's why bouncing creature tokens kills them. So we go for an 8 mana card. We get a Polyraptor, which is pretty adorable. I'm just going to pass here. Don't really feel like trading the 5/5s right now. We are at 8 mana, and at 8 mana there is End-Raze Forerunners, which gives our whole field plus... I think +2/+2 or something. But the most important part is it also gives them Trample and Vigilance until end of turn, so that makes for a really good turn of attacks if you get that guy, and it's going to be just better to have this out and attack if I get an End-Raze Forerunners than to just trade with the flyer immediately. So just in case we hit the Forerunners, we're just going to leave it out for now. Problem with that strategy is that now my opponent's at 8 mana, so we're also just making their End-Raze Forerunners better. End-Raze Forerunners better. So we're also just making their End-Raze Forerunners better. So we're also just making their End-Raze Forerunners better. So we're also just making their End-Raze Forerunners better. So we're also just making their End-Raze Forerunners better. Opponent is at 9 mana now. They could start going for Zacama. Molder Hulk it shall be. Opponent does only have 2 mountains, so if they want to just start playing the Zacama lottery rather than trying to hit and raise foreigners or something, I am just going to go ahead and play land and start playing the Zacama lottery with them, because that's not going to end in their favor unless they draw a mountain. Because if we both end up getting a Zacama, I will have enough red sources to kill theirs, and they will not have enough to kill mine. Looks like they decide to just go for 10 mana now and just start making some impervious Great Worms. Not really sure what the best thing to do here is. I can play the land, but then I'm skipping a turn to start making my own Great Worms, and then the game doesn't really progress from there. I can go for Zacama and try to get rid of all their other stuff, but then I'm going to have to start chumping once they get multiple Great Worms. For now, the Everdon champion is going to deal with that. Could go for 8 mana cards, try to hit a Verdant Forest or something that's really good at blocking. I think I'm just going to go for Zacama here, and hopefully we can get him out and then figure out where to go from there. And we do hit the Zacama. Actually, I have Polyraptor. Wow, I'm an idiot. I have Polyraptor out, so there's actually just no other play than going for Zacama right there, because since I have Polyraptor out, I will always have more than enough blockers for the Impervious Great Worms. Because I can use Zacama to shoot Polyraptor to make another Polyraptor, so I actually just have, like, the game-winning combo. And we don't even need to play another card here. We will just play the land and pass turn. We'll do stuff during their turn based on what they do. Go for 9 mana, hits a Molder Hulk. That is not a Zacama, so I don't have to save all my mana to shoot their Zacama. So I guess instead I'll just start making some Polyraptors. The fact that they aren't just going for a bunch of Great Worms means that blocking is really easy for me right now, actually, so maybe I just start shredding away their creatures. Yeah, we'll kill the most annoying creature first. Then I think we kill the creature in the air and start attacking in the air. Yep, and then just play the land, attack in the air. And they are on a 3-turn clock. I don't know what mana cost they went for. Oh, it looks like 9 mana again. It is another Molder Hulk. I don't know why you would go for 9 mana cards here. 9 mana honestly seems like probably the worst mana cost to go for. They don't have triple red, so there's really no purpose to getting their own Zacama. Because my Zacama just kills it immediately, they don't even get to do anything with it. Even if they had more red mana. I think they have to just get something that kills Zacama immediately, or just keep making Great Worms or something. Or just scoop. I mean, there's a lot of options. Let's just start making Polyraptors and see if that'll get the scoop here. Probably not, but I think it's the most impressive thing we can do right now anyway. And I'm not just going to do nothing just because it speeds the game up a little bit. Alright, another mountain. Attack in the air. They're down to 10. 2 turns from death. I have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I can now make 4 Polyraptors a turn. I can make 4 5/5s. Opponent goes for 9 mana again. There is Ixalan. They got ya boy. And there's the scoop. Alright. That was an interesting game. I really didn't expect that to go well for us at all once we hit the late game there, just because we had to start skipping turns to make it to 9 mana. Where our opponent was, you know, casting like Impervious Great Worm at 10. But, you know, sometimes you get Ixalan immediately and it all works out. You just got the triple mount for Ixalan. And you start shredding things up. Opponent immediately goes for a 1-mana card. It's Sanctuary Cat. That's adorable, but also not a threat at all, so I'll just pass. Just take my 1 damage a turn for now. Because if I go for a 1-drop, it is by far most likely that I just hit like a 1/1, which is really bad against a 1/2. And then if I go for 2 drops, I think most likely there is something like a 2/1, which is still not that great. So I think it's okay to just skip these. These creatures have such low power, I'm not under a whole lot of pressure. So Diligent Excavator, another creature that is just a 1/3. Its ability doesn't do anything. Alright. We're at 3 mana. Let's see if I can get something that can block these little guys. Be pretty absurd if I can. Alright, a 2/2 is good enough. Now if they attack with both, I get to kill the Sanctuary Cat. So they're probably not going to attack with the Sanctuary Cat. Which means that if they attack with the Excavator alone, I can just block it. So there aren't really any good attacks. Starcrowned Stag does change that quite a bit, though. Now Starcrowned Stag gets to attack and just tap down my best blocker every turn, which is probably going to be whatever I play right now, rather than my 2/2. Because, yep, that is a 3/2, so that will be able to trade for the Starcrowned Stag if they don't tap it down. It's also just strictly better than a 2/2, so that's obviously the one you tap. That is a Garna. All of their creatures for the rest of the game will have haste, which is pretty impressive. I did get a Garna before in Momir, and I remember that didn't seem like it was going to do a whole lot, but then just throughout the game, that can give you a whole lot of advantage. Like, when you hit 7 mana, if you just randomly play, I don't know, like an 8/8 or something, that's usually would be like, alright, this is a fine card. Giving it haste is like, oh damn, this is actually a very impressive threat. Especially when you're on the play. Because now they'll be getting a 6-drop when my field is 3/2, 2/2, and a 3/2, so odds are their 6-drop is going to be something that is pretty threatening to the creatures that I have out to block right now, but it might not be that threatening after I make a blocker for it next turn. Alright, that actually just is threatening either way, because it is a 4/4 flyer, but like if they hit a Colossal Dreadmaw or something, that's really threatening right now, like with the haste, but next turn I'll have my own 6-drop out, which more than likely is going to make Colossal Dreadmaw not super scary, because I have something decent to block it, unless they Starcrowned Stag my dude down, and if they do that, they would at least lose the Starcrowned Stag, so that's the kind of impressive stuff Garna can do for you. And even though this isn't one of those situations where it's turning a unimpressive card into an impressive card, because Horizon Scholar is impressive either way, it is still speeding up the clock on me like a ridiculous amount, so... we do get a 4/4 lifelink, so I'm not gonna die in 3 turns, but 4 turns now, hopefully. Because currently, 3 hits from the Horizon Scholar will kill me. 2 hits will put me to 1, the 3rd puts me to 0. But this will gain me 4 life. That's like getting rid of one of the swings from that. Okay, well, Garna just won them the game with that gigantic trampler. I did not even have a chance to get a creature that could kill it when it enters the battlefield, so that is super lethal. Like, tremendously lethal. So yeah, I mean, that was another card that also would have just been insanely impressive with or without haste. But with haste, it gave me much less time to find an answer. I would have had a turn to find an answer instead of literally just dying on the spot. Why am I going for a 1-drop right now? That's not what I want to do. I gotta click 1 and then cancel. It doesn't let you cancel at 0, which is weird. Alright, to 3 mana we go. Start off with a Sailor of Means. Pretty nice. Get that treasure token to skip over whatever mana cost we want. Play something really big. So next turn we could play a 5 mana card if I just want to get aggressive. And play a card that's as big as possible right now. Or I could also just save that so that on turn 6 I don't have to run the risk of hitting Demon Lord Belzenlock. I could just play a 7-drop on turn 6 and a 7-drop on turn 7. Or I could also just save it until like turn 8 to try to get Zakam out early. But I think I'm just going to use that to skip over 6 mana. I'm just going to play 2 7-drops in a row because I think 7-drops are quite strong. 6-drops are pretty strong too, but they do have that very slight chance of killing you. Alright, 4 mana for our opponent. Rekindling Phoenix, that is quite the good card. Not quite as good as it is in Standard, because in Standard that thing is so hard to kill. But in Momir, it will never come back from the grave because it doesn't go to the grave, it just vanishes. They do get to keep the little 0/1 token that tries to sacrifice itself to bring back a Phoenix from the grave, but they'll just never have a Phoenix in the grave, so it kind of just sits there being adorable. I mean, at the very least, it is a chump blocker after the Phoenix dies. Alright, well... this attacks is a 3/3? Yeah, I could just attack with this as a 3/3. I either deal 3 damage to them, or I get to kill their Phoenix. Seems good to me. It's not really going to do any blocking here. I have a 4/5 to block stuff. So might as well get a little bit of damage in. Not going to send the 2/5 though, because this is Momir. We don't have any instants or sorceries in our hand, so they just know that they can block them with the Rekindling Phoenix. It's not like I'm trying to sneak in a combat trick or anything. Windgrace Acolyte, that is another flyer. So they've got 7 power in the air, so I go down to 9 next turn, then I go down to 2, and then I go dead. So I have 3 more of my opponent's turns before I die. So I need to get a flyer by then, but hopefully one of my 7 mana cards could be like one of the Elder Dragons or something. That would be sweet. That is a big ol' tree folk. Quite the nice attacker at the very least. I think I will send in this 4/5 now that I have a 7/7 to block stuff anyway. I don't know if I want to... yeah, I still want to send in the Unicorn. I still would like to get rid of their flyer. Even if it is a smaller flyer than the Phoenix, I think trading the Unicorn for a 3/2 flyer is not quite as good, but still worth it. Just to get rid of the flyers, because I don't know what I'm ever going to get anything to block them. And if I don't, then I would at least like to kill as many of them as possible. Alright, 6 mana from our opponent. They get a Frilled Sea Serpent, very terrifying card. Once they hit the really late game, they can just skip playing a card that turn to give it unblockable instead. So that's basically 4 damage on board whenever they need it. So I'm basically at 8 if I'm not careful. Alright, Chromium the Mutable. That is one of the Elder Dragons, so I got what I wanted. So we will attack with the Tree Folk and the Thornhide. Alright. They just block the Thornhide, they bounce off each other. Yeah, I just realized I probably shouldn't have attacked with Thornhide Wolves. Because they could double block there, and then my Thornhide Wolves trades for their 2/2. I guess they really like the 2/2, though. So, a Siege Worm, just a 5/5 trampler out there. Alright, on to my turn. We're going for an 8 mana card. And raise Forerunners could be Destruction. That gives my whole field plus something, Vigilance and Trample. Verdant Force is quite good as well. Alright, I think I'm just going to attack with the Trampler. If I attack with the Flyer, I take 4 next turn, 8 if they choose to give their guy unblockable. So I would go to 8 or I'd go to 4. They do die in 2 hits to my Flyer. Yeah, I'll send it in. We'll get aggressive here. Nice, I get to kill the unblockable card. Very happy with this. This thing could do just 1/3 of my life total with absolutely no way to stop it. So I'm definitely killing that. Alright, and an opponent takes the 7 down to 5. Eight mana for our opponent. Endrace Forerunners could be pretty bad. But other than that, I guess like a Zatalpa, something in the air would be bad as well. An Ancient Brontodon is certainly not what I was worried about. I think we're good. I've got all these. They chump. Verdant Force dies. They chump. Yeah, they're definitely not dead this turn. But my position's a lot better than theirs. Like I get to force them to chump block with their Rekindling Phoenix here. Alright, now they are dead on board next turn. In many ways. First of all, just because they don't have any flyers. And now I do think I have enough creatures that even if they have 5 creatures to block with, I should be good. I guess not quite. If they have 5 creatures to block, if they block all of my best creatures, they could survive. Because they just take 4. Alright, so here's the all-out attack. Because that is game. Opponent did not get a flyer to stop Chromium from slapping him. Alright. See what our record's at here. I think I'm at 2 wins and 1 loss. I could be wrong. Yep, 2 wins, 1 loss. See if we can get this up to a reasonable record here. 3 wins, 2 losses is not the worst thing in the world, but 2 wins and 2 losses. That's terrible. That's an awful record, and I would be ashamed. So let's try not to get that. Two days till War of the Spark. I know this is kind of random to say, but this is that short amount of time where I can talk about completely unrelated to the game things because nobody's playing any cards yet. Yeah, I am so excited. If you check out on Twitch, twitch.tv, just check out Magic stuff on there. There are a bunch of streamers with early access to help promote War of the Spark coming to Arena. So there's a bunch of people playing Sealed of It already, and it's pretty hype. But it is, again, exclusive to like Twitch streamers and stuff, so I did not get access to that, unfortunately. So I have to wait until this Thursday, like everybody. But I'm very excited. I think the set looks awesome. The limited format does definitely look very interesting and very different. Which is what I was most hopeful about. So I'm quite excited. So opponent gets a 3-mana 2/2 into a 4-mana 2/3, which is not that impressive, but the 4-mana 2/3 did get to give the 2/2 menace. Poke me in the face. And I did get a Judith, which is obviously not as good in Momir. Oh, I got a 4-mana card that just died. But Judith, as I was saying, obviously not as good in Momir as in regular standard, because she only gets to deal damage when a non-token creature you control dies, and everything in Momir is a token. But she still gives all of my other creatures +1 power, so she at least does that. Opponent got a Lumbering Battlement at 5 mana. That is quite good. A 4/5 Vigilance, nice aggressive card. Doesn't do anything else, though, because all of their other creatures are tokens. But still. So since they got that big ol' 4/5 out there, I am just going to stop as much damage as I can with this Judith here. I don't think that +1 power is going to be a strong enough ability to warrant just not killing one of their creatures off a block there. So 5 mana, 6/3 trample, can spend 4 mana and have target creature just be unable to block that turn, so that's pretty cool. Siegebreaker Giant. If they attack here, I'm definitely just going to trade for the 4/5. Looks like they do not attack. The reason I would trade there is because 5 is a pretty high amount of toughness. I don't know for sure if I'm going to get something with that high toughness here, so I want to kill that with any creature that can. Like, see, this is just a 4/4 flyer. This wouldn't be able to kill that. I don't really care what lands I draw. I have my 3 mountains, so I'm good. No attacks. See what our opponent gets here at 7 mana. We are into the scary mana costs. This is where the real game starts. They get a Wrecking Beast. 7/7 trample. Pretty spooky. Alright, well, I guess I'm going to trade with the 5/4. I don't want to just, like, take 5 here, and hopefully my 7-drop is just, like, a decent large creature on the ground. That would definitely be the best thing here. I mean, Chromia would be good, too. If it's a flyer, if it's just a really big flyer, that's okay. So Polaka Worm is exactly the kind of card I wanted here. Just something to help me block these creatures on the ground while I start smacking them with a Horizon Scholar. Also gains me a bunch of life when it enters, and draws me a card when it dies, so Polaka Worm, pretty clutch draw there. Can you imagine if this card was uncommon in M19? Because this card used to be uncommon in Rise of the Eldrazi. I played that format, and that was awesome. I really liked the Rise of Eldrazi draft and sealed format. But Palaka Worm is definitely an all-star. Alright, we got a problem. That problem is called Zatalpa Primal Dawn. 4/8 Flying Double Strike Vigilance Trample, indestructible. In other words, it does everything our flyer does, and far, far more. Let's go for... What can I even get at 8 mana? I could get End-Raze Forerunners, that doesn't do anything for me. Verdant Force doesn't do anything for me. I feel like the best 8 mana cards don't do anything for me. The only thing I would really want is this Talpa. Whereas at 7 mana, I could try to hit Meteor Golem. At 6 mana, I could try to hit Dream Eater or Riddlemaster Sphinx. Yeah? Let's look for something to kill Zatalpa. Alright, that is not a thing. So yeah, 7 mana... My mind already went through this, but I forgot to say it out loud because a lot is going on in my head. 7 mana, Meteor Golem will not kill it because it's indestructible, so I actually did have to go to 6 mana to try to hit Dream Eater Riddlemaster Sphinx, because those both say return the creature to its owner's hand, which you can still do on Zatalpa, and it'll die because it's a token. So even though it's indestructible, you can still kill it with something that returns it to the hand, so that's why I chose 6 mana there. 6, 7, 8, 9. We are at Zacalma mana, 33% chance. Listen. Once you've played a decent amount of Momir, you realize the late game is pretty much always the same. It's trying to get Zacalma. At least on Arena. In regular Momir on Magic Online, it is a lot more exciting, in my opinion. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. One thing that I do think is kind of lame is that Magic Arena's Momir does not have cards from Kaladesh, Aether Revolt, Amonkhet, and Hour of Devastation in it. Because those cards I played in the beta, I played in the closed beta, and those cards are all programmed in. They had them all working. But they decided to rotate Momir like they rotate Standard. I think that's a little lame, because I think that the cool stuff in Momir is just how random it is, and you make it more random the more cards you have in there, obviously. And 6, 7, 8, 9. And I think the only problem with that is the fact that Zacalma exists. Zacalma is basically the only card that I would, like, want to rotate out. You know? Other than that, I think you should just keep adding cards to the format so everything just keeps becoming more and more random, and all of the cards that you see are just as vast as possible. I think that's really in the spirit of Momir to me. Alright, I'm still going for 9 drops, because 9 drops I've got the 33% chance of Zacalma, which is actually big enough to block Zatalpa. And that's like way higher chance of hitting that than hitting Dream Eater or Riddlemaster Sphinx at 6. There it is, there is Zacalma. It might be... I don't know. It could be too late. Let's find out. This field is definitely really scary. What are they going for here? 9 mana? Interesting. I'm fine with that. They only have 1 red. So if they do get their own, I can just kill it. Alright, what do we have to do here? So we clearly block there and take no damage. We kill that. We kill that without losing a creature. We kill that without losing a creature? Yeah, like what? This is a strange attack. I think we just do that. I guess it does whittle down my creatures for their giant indestructible thing to maybe start getting in there. Gain some life. Alright. Do I just make my own giant indestructible thing? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If I make my own giant indestructible thing, I don't get to use any Zakama abilities, but I also don't need to use any Zakama abilities right now, so I can make my own giant indestructible thing just to block that, or I can go for 8 drops to try to hit Verdant Force to block that. You know, I'm gonna go for 8 drops, because I can hit Verdant Force or I can hit End-Raze Forerunners. Those are both pretty clutch right now. And I can save mana up for Zakama. Gate Colossus is not so clutch. Gate Colossus is just going to chump block that that Great Worm at some point. Opponent goes for 9 mana. I don't know why they're doing it. They would honestly be in a far better position and be putting a lot more pressure on me if they just keep going for 10 mana cards. But I guess now that they're going for 9 mana cards, they get to use these Molder Hulks that they hit to start returning mountains now that they realize what Zakama can do. Because clearly I don't think they did before, because they've discarded a lot of mountains this game. But yeah, now that they've seen a Zakama on board in action, I guess if they are lucky enough, they could hit... Oops! Ooh! Almost killed myself. It is really hard to play correctly and talk at the same time. Everyone thinks they're good at multitasking, but when you record it, it proves to you how bad you really are, so sorry about that. I should have blocked the Zatalpa. Anyways, if they hit another Molder Hulk before they hit Zakama, I'm kind of screwed. 7, 8, 9, 10. Actually, I only need 8. But if they don't... If they just hit Zakama now, that just does, like, nothing. Alright, there is End-Raze Forerunners. $11, $20, $27, $37... 37 minus their toughness, which is 11, 19. 37 minus 19. God, I'm so bad at math. 37 minus 19 is 11, is 16, right? That's like exactly 16, right? And I can use one Zakama ability to get 3 more damage in. Yeah, I'm going to shoot Molder Hulk just in case I didn't count right, but with the additional 3 damage, it's definitely lethal. So yeah, put all the excess damage at their face. Yep, alright. Man, my brain is a puddle of mush right now. I've been doing a lot of kind of like unrelated discussions and stuff that I'm trying to think of while playing here. But we got there. We thought it out. We did math and stuff. Whew, 3 wins, 1 loss. We hit 3 wins. Wherever we go from here is just gravy if we get any more wins. And if not, you know, that's fine. 3 wins, 2 losses is fine. Decent record. Alright. It's kind of crazy the kind of mindset that I get into while I'm recording, because I'm trying to say stuff so that it's not just like a dime a dozen video where like it's just uncommentated Momir gameplay, because I think you could probably just get plenty of that wherever you want. But in trying to keep it interesting and have my thoughts be out there about all this stuff, if you're interested in hearing somebody's opinions on this stuff, and just interested in hearing someone like talk through all of their decisions and stuff like usual, in doing all that, I find that I play a lot worse while trying to talk than when I'm just like sitting by myself and focusing. It's a lot easier to focus, I feel, when you only have to focus on the one thing. And that's not, like, I'm not trying to make excuses for playing poorly. I'm just trying to say that it definitely doesn't help. It is a lot harder. So what I mean when I say I'm not trying to make excuses is that I will fully admit I have played plenty poorly off stream as well. I just think that it happens less often. I'm not trying to say I'm like super good or anything. I'm just okay. If they attack with their 2/2, I'm fine with a little trade here. Neither of these really do anything. Alright, no trades. 5 mana? Man, it's 5 mana already. But yeah, whenever I look back on a video, it's like watching it completely new to me. It's really weird. Because I literally don't remember half the stuff that I've said, because it's just such, like, train of consciousness, or stream of consciousness stuff. I forgot that had reach. I did not realize that. Just speak of the devil, speak of misplaying, and it will appear. Doesn't really matter though, like my flyer doesn't die, and I don't need it to block. But yeah, whenever I go back and watch one of my videos, it's legitimately like I don't remember ever saying any of this stuff. Well, not any of the stuff, just like half the stuff. It's just whatever is happening inside my brain is getting spewed out. I've gotten very rambly. Let's talk about the game. I have more flyers than they have. But they have a flyer that could potentially be pretty spooky. If it survives, I don't know if it will. They might just double block here. Looks like they don't block at all. So this is a 3/3 flyer. If they hit 10 permanents, it starts getting +1/+1 counters whenever any of their creatures dies. So that could potentially be a larger flyer than anything else on the field. And they are at 9 permanents right now, so they'll hit 10 the second they play their 6-drop. And they do get a really good 6-drop. It is the Vengeant Vampire. So it's basically, depending on where you're at in the game, it's kind of like a 4/4 lifelink unblockable, or just a creature that when it dies you gain 8 life and destroy a creature. It's pretty ridiculous either way. And on this board right now, actually, if I wanted to kill it, I'd have to block with a 4/4 and they'd kill my other 4/4. That's a horrific trade for me, so hopefully we can get something that blocks that pretty well. And just lose one of our flyers for it. Alright, there we go. 6/6, that'll definitely block the vampire, and the vampire just gets to kill one of my flyers. So if I attack with the flyers, yeah, that can't go like super poorly here. I think they probably, wow, that's bold. I guess they do gain 8 life off of their vampire this turn. Unless I just let it through, in which case they just gain the 4. And I don't lose a creature. But then they get to keep gaining the 4 every single turn. This card is just so hard to play against. I feel like it's probably just always right to block it immediately. And just let them get that death trigger out of it. Alright, we're in a pretty spooky spot now, because they've got the Rampaging Brontodon, which is essentially just like an infinite with trample. But not really, because if it was infinite, we'd die immediately. But it is going to be 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. It will be a 15-15 trample when it attacks, which is pretty nerve-wracking. Alright. 8 mana. What do we got? Burden Force is not bad. Also not good against a 15-15 trample, but like... Let's see, 7, that's 13. This is more than 15 power if I just don't attack. I kind of did really want to attack there, because that was basically my last attack that I could do any good with my flyer. Because this turn, one of their creatures is definitely going to die. If they attack with that giant trampler, I'm going to kill it with something. In which case, their flyer will become a 5/5 flyer, and then I can't attack them with my flying anymore, because their flyer is just bigger. Opponent goes for 8 mana, they get a Gishath, 7/6 Vigilance Trample Haste, with the bugged animation that doesn't work at all on my computer. Well, this is bad. So yeah, you can see they're attacking with their 2/2 because they want one of their creatures to die so that they have just the ultimate protection in the sky. They just want to, like, know that one of their creatures is going to die, period. Wow, I cannot actually kill that without blocking with Verdant Force, which really sucks. There's just a whole lot of bad. Just a pretty awful position. Let's just wipe my whole field, I guess. We gotta hit something real good. Zatalpa would be great. End Race Forerunners would be hilariously sad, since I did just lose basically all my creatures. Wow, maybe I should just go for 7 mana, try to hit Meteor Golem. Because I gotta get rid of that thing somehow. Maybe I even just play a land, try to hit Ixalan next turn. What would you do here? What would you do here? Anybody who's watching? Not that I can hear you. Because it is recorded, or pre-recorded, so I'm all alone. At 7 mana, you have a potential of Meteor Golem. You could also just hit like a 7/7 flyer. 6 mana, you could hit Dream Eater, you could hit Riddle Master. And if I play this land, I have 33% chance it's a common X turn, which is more likely than the percentage at any other mana cost of getting something that could save me here. But I don't know if that's worth it, because it also requires me to skip a turn here, which is to skip trying to get one of the answers. I'm gonna go for Zakama, because Zakama's been my boy today. Just side with the enemy, and it will all be okay. Interesting. They go for an 8 mana card. You know, the other thing that we could do there is just concede. Because opponent also has enough mana to hit 9 mana, and they have the triple red for Zakama if they get one. So even if I somehow find a way out of this flyer, I don't think I'm in a good position or ever will be. Now, even if I hit Zakama next turn, I'm tapped out. I have a 9/9 blocker. So what block their 3-4 with my 1-4, block their flyer with Zakama, I take 11? That's impossible. I have to block there, I have to chump block there. I have to trade... Even if I get Zakama, I have to trade Zakama for a Brontodon now. Ooh. I had to hope that their card last turn was just, like, utter garbage, or I just did not have a way. So I'm gonna go for 6 mana now, because, like, whatever. Maybe Rakdos? Maybe Rakdos the Showstopper shows up and kills all their creatures, but unfortunately that is not Rakdos. So, there is no savior here. I am gonna scoop. I am scooping when I'm not technically dead, but I am dead. There's just no way. Wow, double rare. At least Magic Arena is nice to me today. What do we got? Oath of Teferi and Chamber Sentry. Oath of Teferi, hilarious with the new set because there's so many Planeswalkers, so being able to use abilities twice could be quite nice. Especially with the new Nicol Bolas, if you have the new Nicol Bolas out and a Jace out, being able to plus him the turn you play him, so that you can use Jace's -5 to create 2 copies of your Nicol Bolas, just gives you infinite Nicol Bolases, so that's hilarious. So yeah, I'm happy to get an Oath of Teferi at the very least. Chamber Sentry is whatever. But yeah, thank you everybody for watching. Sorry if this video was super rambly and you're not super interested in that. I apologize. But I do thank you for watching, and I will see you again very soon with War of the Spark. It's so close. It's so close, guys. I will be playing it the second I can, and I'll see you then.